gonna be tuning up a bike here, just kind of show you the process going through, cleaning it up, making sure everything's lubricated, making sure everything works correctly. I'm working on my wife's mountain bike here, so it's a little bit dirty. So I'm going to be just kind of going through again, just to kind of what I do, make sure everything's working, everything's in good order, everything's working, functioning, safety and safe as well. I didn't show in here, but one of the first things you want to do is obviously look at the tires and get those inflated to the right pressure. But that's pretty easy. It's something you kind of need to do all the time. But again, I'm going to go through just kind of quickly showing it here. Then I'm going to go through it in depth and show you how I do the full set. So I kind of show quickly. I just first off, I'm trying to get like the mud or anything big off. Usually don't really want to do this upside down, but the bike was really dirty on the bottom. So I'm just kind of going through everything I can get off, just some of the big stuff from the frame, from the wheels. I like to use this thing specifically for bikes. This is more for the frame, but I'm just cleaning off, again, like I said, everything. But you'll see the water's kind of collecting under the seats, kind of in the pipes. Some parts of the frames, I usually want to do it the right side up. Again, I'm just kind of doing this just because it's such a mess. I like to use this chain cleaning tool. So it's good it cleans on 3 sides. So I'll put all these kind of the different tools and things I'm using in the description for the video, so you can take a look. So this one's good, like I said, just for getting off. I'm just using soap right now, so I'm just trying to clean off, again, any big chunks or anything like that on it, and just kind of wash it off and make sure everything's clean before I start doing lubrication or degreasing, anything like that. So I forgot to do the gears and everything. So usually you might not have to do this, but again, it was pretty muddy and it had a big mess on it, so I'm just kind of going through each one of the gears on the chain and everything, just make sure it's all, get any of the big debris off before I do anything else. I'm gonna turn it over after this. So I actually set out, let it dry. So I'm gonna just do a visual inspection, just make sure the chain's in good shape, that I can see nothing really bent on it, it's not too loose. The wheels are working correctly, as in spinning. I don't see any wobble to them. The spokes appear to be correct. Just looking at the pedals, I don't always do this, but I happened to look and see that she has some plastic pedals, and one of these was broken. Luckily, I saw that. That could have broken off all the way and been somewhat of a hazard. So I like to test the brakes, and if you can see this one's sticking just a little bit, versus this one's a little bit more snappy. This one's a little bit soft too, but it's the front brakes. I usually leave those a little bit softer than the back, just so you don't press it too hard and go over the handlebars. So just, like I said, just kind of going through, make sure the brakes are working as needed. These are rim kind of brakes, so you might have discs a little bit different, but just kind of looking, make sure the brakes aren't dragging on there. Again, the wheel's spinning somewhat straight. I'm not seeing any wobble to it. Same thing with the front. Nothing's dragging anywhere. So it's really just a visual inspection, again, just to start off, make sure the handlebars are straight to the frame. The seat's off just slightly. I probably just tap that, get that a little bit straight, but it shouldn't be too bad. It turns okay. This may not be something you need to do, but like I said, since I saw the pedal was broken, I'm just going to replace these. And I happen to have some old ones off my other bike. So you notice on the right-hand side, it comes off as normal, just left counterclockwise to loosen it. On the other side, it'll actually be reverse threaded. So just take care of that so you don't tighten it up. Again, I had these, so they're used, but they're still in really good shape. I just happen to have them, so it was an easy fix here. So just tighten that. I just tighten that up, and then take off the. Make sure it's again secure, so it's not going to come off. And then on the other one, you'll see. So I'm actually hitting what looks like clockwise, but that's actually the way it is because it's reverse threaded again, just because of the position. One has to be reverse threaded. Otherwise, as you're pushing it, it would be, loosening itself. So you see reverse, so counterclockwise to tighten it as well. So if you ever have to do that, just make sure you take care of that. So now I'm going to work on the degreasing. Again, you may not have to do each one of these steps, but it had a lot of debris on it, so that's why I did the soap. And then this degreaser, just because it had some like chunks of grease and other pieces on it, so I'm really just cleaning it up before I lubricate it. So this stuff kind of evaporates, so it's not as bad, but I'm just using I'm going to use that chain cleaner again, as I like it for. It gives you a safe way to keep your hand out of the way most of the time. So I'm just going to do that. Clean off the chain and then the gears in each part of it, and then just make sure it's completely dry. I'll just leave it for a little bit as well, let it air dry before I actually do the lubrication. There's a couple different ways to lubricant. This is like a one step. Again, this says cleaner and lubricant. It was just a mess, so I just went through all three of these. This I don't want to put too much on of the lubricant just because it'll kind of get everywhere, be dripping, make a big mess. You can get it on your wheels. So I'm just doing just a little bit, enough. Then I'm going to run the chain. So there you go. Just run it backwards there. Just make sure it's touching each one of the pieces, and then that chain, this will help keep the pieces from rusting as well. And I'm just going to get off any excess. Again, you don't want to get it anywhere on the wheels or anywhere where the brakes touch or anything like that, because it'll really mess up that. So just use a couple step process, clean it up, run the chain around a couple of times with the wheels, do it again, just kind of get any of that excess off because you don't want it dripping. And next is to work on the brakes here. So you saw this one was kind of sticking, so I want to get any of the moving hinges, and then just remember that there's a cable that goes through. That's what pulls the brakes, so that can kind of stick in any of the little joints anywhere inside. So that's where you saw me shooting in there, and then kind of getting in here where it comes out, just so it's where it's rubbing, it's lubricated, so it works better, and also doesn't potentially rust. So there's quite a few moving parts here. I probably should have moved the pads off here, since I wasn't. So I'm kind of shooting this grease because I don't want them on the rim. I don't want that oil on there touching the pads. So here, yep, telling myself I just thought of it after I did it. So I'm testing the brakes again, just to kind of make sure. And then they were still a little bit stiff, so I just took it off the frame there, and then just kind of made it a little bit looser. So as I pulled it, I could move the cable a little bit more, just to make sure it's lubricated a little bit better, working good. Get a little bit more of that lubrication on it a little bit further up in there, so it's not sticking in, and they're working a little bit better. It seemed a little bit smoother now. And the next is to work on the other parts of the gears back here, doing the derailleur a little bit. Just kind of making sure it's all. So I pretty much got this one when I sprayed it down. But again, you just want a little bit in there, just to kind of enough, and then kind of move it around, feel it. It's not sticking. It's not, it's kind of snappy. That's all you want. Looking at the derailleur there, again, you just want it all just in good working order. Then the next thing I move on to is kind of just testing the gears. Again, I kind of looked at the derailleur in the back, and then kind of looking at the one in the front. Just kind of watching it as you switch to the gears and as you move the pedals. Does it shift easily? Does it kind of stick? You usually notice if it's out toward the the extension, so like the lowest part of the highest gear. Those are usually the ones that you kind of see the effect on. So here I'm just trying the front derailleur there. You can kind of see it moving. But what I'm testing is I'm looking at it's on that second gear, but then trying to get it on the largest spoke. It's not. Sometimes one time it did it, right here it did it, but it seemed to be kind of sporadic. Like here you can see it kind of bouncing across it, and it's not catching on there. So it is just one time. But then I tested a couple times, and so you can see here it's kind of popping and not holding onto there. So I think it needs just a little bit more tension there. So if I manually test it, I can see where if it gets just a little bit more, it'll push it over. So I'm going to work on that, just kind of make sure that's lubricated and that's working correctly. So you can see as I manually pushed it over, it worked correct. So there's there's little minute tensions you can do. This one didn't seem like it was too bad, so I didn't want to really mess with the cable. I like to usually do that last, where you can actually take that off. So I'm just trying some minute changes here just to see if it helps function better. So do it down here, and then just again, there's some minute tension you can do up near the handlebars, and between some of these, a lot of times you can get the gears to work a little bit better. So I'm just testing it out again, trying it, just seeing how tight it is, and to see if the minor adjustments did anything, but it didn't really do much. It's really close here. Again, this is what I'm saying. If it's off too much and you can't get it working, it's just like the brake pads. You can the brakes. you can release that cable and kind of tighten it a little bit more, but then you kind of have to worry about both sides. So what I'm trying here is just kind of lubricating any parts of the moving joints. Maybe it's just a little bit tight, and just kind of working it, getting a little bit of lubrication in there seemed to help. So I tested it a couple times, and now you can see it just catches just right. So again, if you mess with it too much, then you might affect on the other side. So you want to kind of find that sweet spot here. So this last part, just testing it again, just to make sure, since I changed it, the derailleur in the front, I don't want to mess up any of the other gear. So just a final check here. Everything's working, the brake's working, it's inflated correctly, everything seems tight. I'll just go out and take this on a test drive and make sure it's all working. But this is really, most of it's just lubrication and just getting it clean.